I'm here with the Cooks, some residents of Yellowcreek Road. The Cooks, along with several other residents of this area, are concerned with road conditions. Not 2 weeks ago, crews came down to attempt to alleviate some stress of these residents by fixing some ditches and improving the drainage and quality of the roads here in Yellowcreek. These residents still have some concerns. Mr. and Mrs. Cook, could you elaborate some on these concerns that Yellowcreek Road citizens have?
Okay, well, first of all, I would like to thank the county for, with the help of Rocky Atkins, obtaining funds to do some of the work that you saw, Justin, as you drove up the road. But also, I'm sure you saw some of the dangers that still exist and are very evident. For example, when you're coming up Yellowcreek Road, they did a really good job pulling the ditches and putting in some new drain lines. However, once you get up to the old schoolhouse, they call that P-Duck Hill, after that everything's hit and miss. And there are a lot of issues that still remain. There are still some areas where the road is sliding. There are huge potholes. There are areas where we need guardrails. Areas where if you try to pull over to let another car pass, there are logs that have been setting for years dangling on the side of the road that you may or may not scratch your car with. They left it a muddy mess, and it's pretty slippery out there right now. It's like driving on ice, and one of my concerns is the quality control of the work that they have been doing and not spending the taxpayers' money wisely to get the road fixed properly.
And you mentioned before that oftentimes residents themselves are taking up the issue, taking up the work involved in cleaning up this road.
Yes.
Yeah, most of the time, anytime we have a bad windstorm or anything like that, or we have a lot of rain like we've had the last 3, 4, 5 days, I think this is day 5 right now that we've had rain. We have blackjack pines, or mountain pines that fall over, stuff like that, which we know they've got a bad root base. But the thing of it is, most of the people around here, myself included, when I get up and leave for work at 4 o'clock in the morning, I carry a chainsaw in the back of my car. That way I can cut my way out to go to work. Well, usually what we do is we'll cut our ways out or cut the limbs and stuff for trees where they're passable. And then later on, one of the guys, say Ray Gerald at the foot of P-Dyke Hill, or maybe Donnie Howard on the other end, depending on which end it is, they'll hook their tractor, and then they'll pull the trees out.
Mm-hmm.
Big thing is too, and one of the major concerns is actually just like you hit on earlier and my wife hit on, is the safety aspect of the road. Granted, they went in and they pulled ditches and they did a good, I have to give them credit for that. But the thing what they did too is whenever you run up on a wide spot and you yourself come down up on this road here, there's nowhere to go, especially with a school bus coming. Well, the school bus has to stop, and you have to find either back down the road until you can find a spot wide enough, which most people up through here know where the wide spots are. So, but whenever they come through and they cut the ditch, instead of going and allowing us to have that pull off, they just cut the ditch right through. Well, now if anybody was with a car, especially, they fall off in that ditch, trying to get out of the way of the school bus, and they bottom out and they're stuck. The school bus get on by, or you still run the chance of the school bus slipping off. And you got some spots on these hills right here that actually need guardrails, because there's nothing between you and the bottom except trees. And that's a big safety concern as far as our kids are concerned.
And I noticed in some places the road actually sort of breaking off on the edges because water hasn't been drained properly and just sort of flows across and erodes that away.
Right. And another big thing I had too is just like what the wife had hit on, and you also, is about their QC and coming back to quality checking of the work, following behind the workers and seeing what's being done. I mean, you came up this road, you see the mud that's piled on the side. Granted they pulled a ditch, but all they just left a big pile of dirt right there, and now the water channels up to that dirt, and where the drains aren't cut or where the ditches aren't cut, the water's still piling up on the side of the road. So
ideally the best time to come out here and check this was during weather like this,
right,
to see if the work that they've done is effective or not. And it's in most places it's not, unfortunately. And like with the school bus, it's sad when most of the residents on this road actually plan their movement of driving into town based on when the school bus is coming or going, because
everybody here
so
knows
dangerous.
that the school bus is coming at 4 o'clock, so we know to
Really?
try to stay off the road before.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right.
Another big thing is too, you know, granted I don't understand, you know, we're in a bad economic crunch. Everybody is in the whole country. You know, and Lawrence County is not a very rich county, but the money they're spending is fine, but they need to make sure that they get the best bang for the buck. Now you need to make sure, I mean, we've got county workers here, and granted, yes, they get a nice retirement. They get a paycheck every 2 weeks or every month or every week, whatever how they're paid. But the thing of it is, you want to get the best bang for your buck. So you want to make sure that the people that's doing the work are actually doing the work that they don't have to come back and redo again, because it's costing you twice then.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I appreciate, like I said, I appreciate the way they've done things up till now. But then, if you look at it in spots, you know, it's very spotty work. You know, right here in front of my place, where they did $60,000 worth of road repair to fix a slide. Well, yeah, they fixed the slide, but they left a sheer drop off right there, no guardrails. And not only that, all they did was, whenever they fixed the slide, is they pushed all that stuff down into my bottom. Now that's something I've got to clean up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I've already talked to them about that too. So, you know, and we probably won't get nothing done now till spring.
This road will not last till spring. It's not going to last. There's no way. And they're going to continue to drive the school bus on this road.
Mm-hmm.
I think people should be outraged that they allow that to happen. If they would actually drive down this road and see the condition of it, they'd be able to sympathize with what we're trying to say.
Right.
Say again, I appreciate the attempts they've made, but they're not finished by a long shot. And granted, I know you know, it was 2 weeks ago they were here, or maybe a week or so ago they were here. But granted, I mean, I understand that, you know, the weather's been bad, but I'd generally really like to see them get back out here and finish what they started, and come back in and groom it instead of leaving clumps of dirt everywhere and big muds. I mean, going down this road right here, I mean, we've got pockets where the road's been troughed out that actually you need to put some get the mud out of it. I mean, it's a mess. I mean, you make these curves right here, and you can't do 20 mile an hour on this road, but you don't tear something out from underneath your vehicle. Mm-hmm. So anything over 20 mile an hour, you know, you're already at risk. But you can't even do 15 or 20 mile an hour, which you ain't sliding out in one of these curves. So
Mm-hmm.
they need to make sure that they come back and just finish what they started.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.